920, issued by the California Governor Gavin Newsom on March 17, 2020. The Ralph M. Brown Act, California Government Code Section 54950 sequence, and the Federal Americans with Disabilities Act. This meeting will not be physically open to the public. All members of the public may participate and comment via application Zoom. Remote public comment is also available for the city council meeting by emailing cityclerk@ci.series.ca.us by 5 p.m. Date of the meeting. The clerk may read written comment into the record if any, if specifically requested to do so at the beginning of your email. Your written comment will be distributed to the city council and kept on file as part of the official record of the council meeting. Notice to all, this is a special meeting. This will be a closed meeting in this, for the City of Ceres Council. So let's begin by calling to order.
Councilmember Rhino,
Here.
Councilmember Silvera,
Here.
Vice Mayor Condit,
Present.
and Mayor Lopez.
Here. Before we go into closed session, I would see if there's anybody online who has any comments, but it doesn't really look like there's anybody online.
We have one attendee and their hand is.
If anybody would like to speak now in regards to the closed session? No hands?
No hands.
No emails?
Emails.
Okay. And we will go ahead and move to a closed session. Just wanted to ask, is Tom gonna mention something about the closed session being over with? Okay, before I speak.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just to report out from closed session, excuse me, the council gave direction to staff on the negotiation item with the Police Officers Association. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. This meeting will be held in accordance with Executive Order N2920 issued by California Governor Gavin Newsom on March 17th, 2020, the Ralph M. Brown Act, California Government Code, Section 54950 ET sequence, and the Federal Americans with Disabilities Act. This meeting will not be physically open to the public. All members of the public may participate and comment via the application Zoom. Remote public comment is also available for the City Council meetings by emailing City Clerk at ci.series.ca.us by 5 p.m. the date of the meeting. The clerk may read written comments into the record, if specifically requested to do so at the beginning of your email. Your written comment will be distributed to the City Council and kept on file as part of our official record of this council meeting. Welcome everybody to the City Council regular meeting. Today is February 8th, 2021. And I would like to start by calling this meeting to order.
Councilmember Rhino,
Here.
Councilmember Silvera,
Here.
Vice Mayor Condit,
Here.
and Mayor Lopez.
Here. And we have an invocation by Pastor Mike Maddock of Victory Assembly. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Let's bow our heads and pray. Thanks for the invitation tonight. I appreciate it. Lord, thank you for the city of Ceres. Thank you for these individuals that represent our city and our government. Lord, I pray your wisdom would be on them. I pray your hand would bring them together in unity of purpose for all the needs to be met in our community, for both those who are successful and those who are struggling. And Lord, in the days in which we live, where there is a lot of sickness and a lot of hurt, Lord, we pray that healing would come to our city, to our people. We pray for those who have lost family members. And Lord, we just ask tonight that your hand would be up on this meeting. And Lord, we thank you that the best days are ahead for Ceres. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Thank you. There are no presentations for today. On to city communications. While the City Council welcomes and encourages participation in the City Council meetings, adopted rules allow to no more than 5 minutes, resolution number 2007-106 for expression of non-agenda items. Matter under the jurisdiction of the City Council and not on the posted agenda may be addressed by the general public. However, California law prohibits the City Council from taking any action on any matter which is not posted on the agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the City Council. Citizens are entitled to address the City Council on any agenda item subject to 5-minute provision. Public comments will not be accepted through Zooms. For those participating through the web, please raise your hand to request and speak, hand icon bottom of your screen. If you are participating by telephone, please press *9 on your phone. The city clerk will call your name in order that the requests are received. When it is time for you to speak, the city clerk will unmute your microphone. City clerk, please provide the names of each person that has recorded to speak, if there's anyone on Zoom.
Yes, Mayor. The first person is Lee Brandt. I will unmute his mic.
Thank you.
Mr. Brandt, your mic will be unmuted.
Good evening, Council. My name is Lee Brandt, and I live in District 1. I have been attending most of the meetings for the past 7 years. The meeting last week was embarrassing and sad. If that meeting is an example of how this council is going to be, with members only wanting to have their own agenda, the city of Ceres is in trouble. Thank you.
Next
Next
person.
person, Mayor, is John Warren. Mr. Warren, I'll unmute your mic.
Good evening, council members. John Warren. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Very well. I too was a little upset with the proceedings from the last meeting. I would hope that as council members, if you cannot come to an agreement on a particular person to represent District 1, then quite possibly you would open up the nomination period again and see if you can find someone else that you can all agree upon that might fill the bill. In addition, today, traveling down Moffett Road, I saw the famous yellow shopping cart in the gutter near Hatch. It's been there for 3 weeks. And I can't imagine that a police car or a fire engine or a city employee in a city vehicle that has not passed that way in the last 3 weeks. This has been brought up before. City employees, when they see trash, debris, and things that don't belong, need to call the appropriate department so that it can be rectified. And so today I did send a short text message to Mr. Mayor and also to Chief Collins. Chief Collins did respond and tell me that he would see that code enforcement received the information. And he was not aware if all his patrol people had the correct telephone number to call the person responsible for picking up the buggies, the grocery buggies. And I know that there's someone out there that the stores have employed, and that number should be on the dashboard of every city employee and quite possibly for any citizen who might want that information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. Anyone else on Zoom?
Mayor, there are no other hands raised.
Okay, do we have any emails or phone calls?
No emails in regards to public comment. There are emails in regards to item 8.
Emails regard to what? I'm sorry?
Item 8,
Item 8. Okay, then we should just read those during that time, I guess.
correct.
There's no phone calls either? No?
No.
Okay. Conflict of interest declaration. Is there anyone on the council that would like to declare a conflict of interest? Okay. For the consent calendar, all matters listed on the consent calendar are considered routine in nature and will be enacted by a single motion unless otherwise requested by an individual council member or public for special consideration. Otherwise, the recommendation of staff will be accepted and acted upon by a roll call vote. Is there anyone on the council that would like to pull an item on the consent calendar? Is there anyone from the public that would like to pull an item? Okay. And if any of the council members would like to motion?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Rhino,
Yes.
Councilmember Silvera,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Condit,
Aye.
and Mayor Lopez.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
And I would like to move item number 9 before item number 8 for the discussion item.
Thank you, Mayor Lopez, council members. At the last meeting, there was a request of the council to place an item to discuss the potential reopening of city council meetings. As the council knows, staff and the council have been in the council chambers for some time. The public has been participating by the Zoom media, kind of along that same time frame. Staff researched and reached out to all of the cities in Stanislaus County. 6 of the 9 cities are holding their meetings virtually only. The exception being Stanislaus County has their meetings open to the public. They have about a space for about 30 members of the public to attend. The city of Modesto has some staff and some council working from the council chambers. There are other staff members and other council members that participate by Zoom, and the public participates entirely by Zoom. I did reach out and heard from the city of Turlock that they are considering doing a phased reopening in February of their city council meetings. And then additionally, even though the city of Oakdale is currently holding their meetings entirely virtually, there has been some discussion amongst their staff that they may consider doing a opening of their city council meetings too. So with that, staff is available for questions, just looking for direction from the council. If you are desirous in moving to open up your city council meetings again, number of things could happen. You could provide such direction to staff and we'll move in that regard. Or if you want us to bring back some potential guidelines on how we would reopen when we make that decision, we can do that too. So entirely up to the council, and I would be available for any questions you might have.
Does the council have any questions?
And we'd want
about
to open this one up to
Yeah, I want
public
to open
comments.
this up to the public. Is there anybody in the public that has any questions about us opening up the city council to the public?
Yes, Mayor. First hand that I see raised is Lee Brandt. Mr. Brandt, I'll unmute your mic.
Yeah, hello, council. I would just like to put my 2 cents worth in if you guys do decide to open it up and have the council meetings to where people can attend. If you could still do the Zoom along with the open meetings, because there are those of us out here that still do not believe that it's a good idea to open up the meetings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to respond to that, Mayor Lopez, I think
Yes,
it's our intent to, if we were open the meetings, we would still use Zoom platform for anybody that wanted to attend virtually.
As it should be. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, Mayor. Next person is John Warren. Mr. Warren, I'll
Mr.
unmute your
Warren,
mic.
you're up.
Yes.
Good evening, council again. I have a question probably for Mr. Westbrook. How many people with the chambers there where you're at, how many would you be able to safely seat with the COVID restrictions?
Very good question, Mr. Warren. We haven't laid out the auditorium just yet, but because we do not have fixed seating, I think that we could probably get a somewhat decent number in here. I would probably anticipate at least probably in the range of 30 to 40 seats and still have proper social distancing for those in attendance.
Thank you.
Next person, Mayor, is Mr. John Osgood. Mr. Osgood, I'll unmute your mic.
Mr. Osgood, welcome. Mr.
Oh,
Osgood,
gave
can
me
you-
the option to unmute. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Very good. Well, several correspondence to you guys about the health and safety code, and like that requires us to review this local state of emergencies every 30 days. Y'all are aware that I want to see the council chambers open. I mean, that's kind of been my go-to in every email to all of you. When I open the Series Courier and I see that the applicants for District 1 are in the council chambers, some unmasked while giving their statements, it bothers me that the public is not allowed to attend in the same manner as they were. Every applicant could have been given a Zoom link and interviewed via Zoom. So I'd request that you open our chambers immediately because of the precedent you set during that meeting. We all are adults. We can utilize face coverings or masks. We can stay home and participate via Zoom. Mr. Westbrook knows all too well, I have always said, we need to keep the Zoom meetings going for anyone, for any reason that cannot attend our city council meetings to participate. Do in no way, shape, or form think that the expense for Zoom meetings is unjustified. But I do think that the decisions the council makes to allow other people to attend for special events or special circumstances is ridiculous if you're not going to open it up for public to be able to decide what we do as adults.
Thank you, Mr. Osgood. Is there anyone else?
I see Mr. Dave Pratt has his hand raised. Pratt, I'll mute you.
Yeah, this is Dave Pratt. I'm all for opening it up. I feel that you don't always have that big a crowd in there anyways, and there'll be enough separation. And I also would like to see the continuation of Zoom, because a lot of times I'm out of state, and I would like to attend the meetings also. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
There are no other hands raised, maybe.
Any emails and or calls?
Phone call and emails. I do not see any.
Okay. So if we do decide to open up the council, obviously it'd be a smart idea to make sure we have some guidelines. As you mentioned, a few of those. Is there anything in particular the council would like to add to those guidelines that you feel are important?
I think as long as we take social distance or physical distancing, sanitizing of microphones after people give public comment. If someone does take down their mask on a microphone, you don't want someone else coming in and taking down their mask on the same microphone without it being sanitized first. So simple things like that that I think we could do to allow the public to be here, I think it'd be good for the community.
I think we would need to see, I would need to see a pretty thorough, detailed plan before I'd have a reasonable opinion on it either way.
I would agree that we want to make sure that we protect the public and ourselves. I think that's number one. Would it be wise that we, before we make the decision to open this council, that we table this until we receive those guidelines?
So I'd like to direct City Manager Westbrook to draft guidelines for the public to attend the council meeting, and how we would go about cleanliness, sanitation-wise, to make sure we're all safe.
I would think if we had that, the first meeting in March would probably be reasonable. Give you enough time to do the work, the measurements, everything, and accessibility of all the equipment if needed, sanitation supplies. You guys agree with that?
That's reasonable.
Thinking meeting in March with the plan.
So then bringing back some guidelines for you to discuss at the next meeting on February 22nd with the target of opening on March 13th?
No, I would say bring back the guidelines on the first meeting in March. And I would like to look at them then and then make a decision. So not bringing it up at our next meeting here in February.
Okay, so
we need to motion that.
I believe to table it, correct? It's the same thing.
I'll make a motion that we see a thorough and detailed plan from the city staff in our first meeting in March on the possibilities of opening the meetings to the public and also including Zoom at that time.
Second.
May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Rhino,
Yes.
Councilmember Silvera,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Condit,
Aye.
and Mayor Lopez.
Yes.
It passes 4-0.
Now back to number 8, resolution number 2021-16, appointing a member to fill the District 1 council vacancy. Is there anybody on Zoom that would like to speak to this matter? Any raised hands? I see one.
First person is Lee Brandt. Mr. Brandt,
Okay.
I'll unmute your mic. Your mic should be unmuted.
It's like I said at the start, if council members only care about their own agenda and choose that way and not to nominate the most qualified person, the city is going to be in trouble. And I really think it's a clear, I don't know what to say. It's clear that there is a most qualified person that has put in for the position in District 1, and District 1 is my district. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, Mayor. Next person is John Osgood. Mr. Osgood, I'll unmute your mic.
Mr. Osgood?
Did you raise your hand?
Yes, I did raise my hand. Can you hear me?
We can most definitely hear you.
Very good. So here's where I'm at.
Let's hear it.
Regardless of the previous speaker's district or not, regardless of his personal feelings on the qualifications of the candidate, it's very obvious that this council's not going to decide 3-1 on any one individual. With that being said, in a representative form of government, our most important expense is that is incurred for the election of the representative. When Linda decides, she's deciding based on what's good for District 2. When Brett decides, he decides on what's good for District 3. When my own member decides, Cooper, he decides on what he thinks is best for District 4. Mr. Mayor, you're the only at-large person on that council. The at-large people making the decision should be the District 1 residents, not any of the other 3 districts. That's not a representative form of government. And as I've already stated, our only responsibility, the first thing we are required to pay for, is our adequate representation. I would move for immediate call for a special election and let the people of the district decide.
Thank you, Mr. Osgood.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, next person is John Warren. Mr. Warren, I'll unmute your mic.
Thank you. Again, as I mentioned before, if for some reason you folks can't come to an agreement on the present nominees, then quite possibly I would suggest that you go out to the District 1 folks again and see if there's someone else that may step forward that you can all agree upon. There's a little time left, a couple, 3 weeks before the deadline, and possibly you could come to an agreement before that time period. Thank you.
Next person is Renee Ledbetter. Ledbetter, I'll unmute your mic. I'm going to promote you to panelist again due to your version of Zoom you're using. Ledbetter, I requested to unmute your mic.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for
Good
joining us.
evening, Mayor and Council. I again would like to encourage the council along the same lines as Mr. Brandt, even though the council member is going to be representing a certain district, all 5 of you have a responsibility for the entire community of Ceres. And so although a special election would allow the voters of that district to vote for that person, I believe that you're wasting valuable time to go to a special election. I believe that you would be wasting money that's not necessary. You have 4 candidates, and I know that you all have different and varying opinions on who's qualified and who may not be qualified. In my opinion, I think there's a candidate that stands out because of her experience and because of her knowledge being a city employee and being a representative of the Ceres community on the Planning Commission for many years. And when you go to a lawyer or a CPA or a doctor or any other professional, you don't say, can I have the second or third person who's good at this job? We all want the number one person who's very good at their job. And this is no different than that. So in my opinion, I think you would be wasting time, money, make the appointment, and in 2 years, when the appointment is complete, then let those people vie for a position for that council seat. Because until then, this council and this city, if you're going to continue to be split 2 and 2, nothing's going to get done. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Sheila Brandt is the next person. Ms. Brandt, I'll unmute your mic. Your mic should be unmuted.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Sheila Brandt, and I live in District 1. I agree 100% that passion is a quality that you need to have, as well as commitment to be willing to spend the amount of time that is needed to perform your council duties effectively. There is no way you can get experience till someone is willing to give you a chance. However, at this time, I do not believe that the city of Ceres has the extra time it is going to take to break in another new council member. At the present time, as you all know, Councilwoman Rhino is the only returning city council member. We are in troubled times, not only as cities with the state of California, but our governor is facing a possible recall, the pandemic, the vaccination fiasco, and a new president with new laws that each state will need to address. The city of Ceres has finally won the lawsuit against Walmart being able to build a super center. So we need to have an experienced council member who will be able to move us forward. Once again, the city of Ceres does not need to spend our time trying to train a new council member, or do we have the money for a special election? I believe you need to elect Lori Smith as our District 1 representative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next person, Mayor, is, I believe that's it. Hold on. I apologize. 2 more just came up. Shelley Madrigal. Madrigal. Ms. Madrigal, you're using an older version of and 13 area code. Let me unmute your mic. Your mic should be unmuted.
Thank you. Good evening. This is Mrs. Salahuddin, once again calling in. And I'm just a little baffled, and forgive me, because I come from the Bay Area, and Ceres is like all of 3 exits. It's really not that big, so I don't understand why it would be so complicated for any candidate to sit in that office. I mean, and if you're talking about all the experience that's here, why wouldn't you guys help one another? This is a small town. I I don't get it. I really, and I'm in District 1. So, I think it should go out to District 1. I really do. Because this city would be in a fix if something were to happen to the most qualified, the most, the very most. You need to have backup people, and you need to start now. I don't understand why not. I don't want to say that I feel like a selfishness going on here, but for God's sake, this isn't a big town. I won't take any more of your time. Thank you.
Thank you. More hands?
Other hands raised, Mayor.
Any more phone calls?
No phone calls.
We have emails?
Yes, we do have some emails. If you'd like, I could read them.
Yeah, let's go ahead and read whatever you have, please.
First email states, my name is Karen Hinkle, and I'm writing in regards to the open council seat. I know that Connie Vasquez would be a great asset to the Ceres City Council. She is always interested and concerned on ways to make our community better. She gets involved in many activities in our town and with a true passion. She is always willing to hear other people's concerns, and she addresses them with great confidence. The growth of our town is important to us. To her, she is nice, friendly, and a fun person and a great team member. Thank you. Next person is Julie Amont. I have known Connie Vasquez for many years. She is a small business owner here in Ceres. Her son-in-law both work for the city of Ceres. Connie is extremely honest and one of the hardest workers I've known. It's interesting to me that two of your council members have a friend they would like to put on the council. Of course, they are implying Connie's lack of experience is what they're against. What they're were they experienced when they first joined the council? Even more interesting is they both have the same friend they feel will be a choice. Their friend has experience. Given a chance, Connie will gain experience, and she would be a great council member. She would stand for the average person. Please vote for Connie, and you will not regret your decision. She is honest, hardworking, reliable, and would represent the people of Ceres in the best way. Next comment is from Lisa Henry. She lists her address on Myrtlewood Drive. She states, I am writing this letter of support for Connie Vasquez for the Ceres City Council. I have known Connie for over 20 years and found her to be a conscientious, hardworking person. She is a successful small business owner within our city limits. Her family child care home is licensed by the state of California and offers child care to our most precious assets, the children of our community. I believe she will bring new, innovative ideas to the council with the goal of making our community the best it can be. Next message is from Sierra Chacon. She lists her address on Allway Drive. To whom it may concern, I am Sierra Chacon, a Ceres resident. I feel confident Connie Vasquez would be the best choice for the role of the City Council seat District 1. I have known Connie Vasquez for 8 years. I have worked for her a few years as her assistant. I know Connie is outgoing, genuine, and loves her community. I could not imagine a better, energetic person to get the job done than Connie Vasquez. Thank you. Next person is Maria Luna. I want to share why Connie Vasquez will be the perfect candidate for Council Seat 1. Connie is very dependable, thinks outside the box. She's a good listener. Connie will have any individual in the time of need. I think she meant Connie will help any individual in the time of need. You do not need to be a family member or friend. Ceres needs a new, fresh mind council, and that's Connie Vasquez. Next person is Frankie Haney Roberts. I'm writing you to recommend Connie Vasquez for the appointment you have open. I have known Ms. Vasquez as a neighbor for 20 years. She is kind, intelligent, articulate, honest, and has an excellent work ethic. I could continue with the praise of this awesome person, but to utilize both our time, I will just make it short. You and the citizens of Ceres would be extremely rewarded by giving her the position. No one could do a better job. My father-in-law is and was a former mayor of Ceres, Gene Roberts. He would have recommended Ms. Vasquez if he was still living. This is the highest compliment I can give the person because I greatly admired his judgment. Thank you for your attention to this email. Next one is by LaDonna Genero. Connie Vasquez would be a valuable person to have on the council. She would be a fresh insight. She cares for the people and the children of the community. She goes above and beyond with her daycare kids. She teaches them and cares about education and well-being And that's who you need on the council, someone that would give 100%. She may not have the experience as the other candidate, but that's a good thing, a fresh set of eyes and new ideas to help our community. To the end of the messages, Mayor.
Thank you. I do see another hand up there.
Kelly Madrigal.
Hi, council. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I understand, that the council members value experience. I also understand the other side where passion to your community and commitment and may not having the experience is what we need because we need a kind of combination of both. I see where all council members and mayor are coming from. After last week's meeting, I was very disappointed. I understood all sides. I believe maybe opening it up to other District 1 residents to either bring to light the current candidates that step forward, or maybe another candidate is able to come forward where you guys can agree on, so you don't have to go to a special election. I know that's a lot of money and a lot of time our city does not need to waste. So maybe considering that as an option as well as letting those 4 candidates move forward, but maybe opening it up another week to see if anybody else would like to move forward and be represent, Council 1 as well as City Council.
Thank you. Looks like somebody just joined us. Would like to speak.
Josh Steely. Steely, I'll unmute your mic.
Hi there. Hi, this is Josh Steely. Hopefully you can hear me. My connection's kind of poor, but I wanted to concur with Renee Ledbetter about nominating Lisa Smith because of her, numerous years of experience with political job at City of Modesto. And I'm concerned because you had the 2 votes for the city council members, Rhino and Brett Silvera, and the winning vote could have been our mayor, but I feel that he didn't want to vote for Lisa because he would admit that if voting for somebody that has experience, even though he was elected without experience, he would admit that that is not the case. That should have been, in his situation. So I feel that the mayor should do the right thing, vote for Lisa Smith, and put this to bed and not waste taxpayer money to go to a special election. That's it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I see no other hands raised.
Anyone from the council would like to speak to this matter?
Yes, Mayor, I just want to thank all 4 of the applicants for their commitment to serve their community. All 4, I think, offer a solid resume, and they all seem to care about Ceres. The question for us is, can we compromise and avoid a special election? Council members Rhino and Silvera have said they will only vote for 1 applicant, Planning Commissioner Smith, because of her experience on the Planning Commission, nearly 15 years. I would submit that not being on the Planning Commission is also a valuable experience to have. Valuable experience comes in many forms. I know firsthand that anyone that wanted to stay on the Planning Commission after getting appointed during the Toby Wells days had to vote his way or was removed. I trust that Mr. Westbrook has ended this heavy-handed approach and allows commissioners to be independent and free to vote their convictions. And for anyone to suggest that you have to have Planning Commission experience or government experience to be a good representative for District 1 doesn't understand public service. In fact, some of our greatest leaders have come from outside of government. But more important, we shouldn't send a message that only those in government will be considered and that somehow citizens can't handle this job. That's a ridiculous, aristocratic attitude. It allows only those that are in to stay in. All of us should be willing to name our top 2 choices and make a decision and avoid the cost of a special election. If not, I hope this council would fund the election through our own stipend and our generous health care insurance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so, well, that was interesting. We are tasked with selecting a candidate for the District 1 spot. There wasn't an election. Elections are different. Everybody has a chance to give their opinion on who they vote for. In an appointment process, we're tasked with voting or nominating and voting for the person that's most qualified. After hearing all of the applicants speak last Tuesday and reading everything that we have about them that was presented to us, again, we're tasked with naming the most qualified person out of the people we have to choose from. That's clear. I'm pretty sure that's clear to everybody. And to think that somebody would actually think that no experience would be a better option than somebody with a high level of experience, integrity is beyond me. We're here to appoint somebody to the city council until December of 2022. One of our candidates was clearly more qualified than the other. Clearly, it's indisputable. To ask to compromise and have 2 of the candidates in our mind or in our notes when we only have 1 spot to fill is irresponsible. We have 1 spot to fill. It's not a compromise. We have 1 candidate that's clearly, without a doubt, more qualified, and that should just happen right now. Lori Smith is clearly the most qualified, without a doubt, to fill that seat for the rest of the term. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Silvera.
I'll state what I stated last Tuesday when we had the interviews, that I can appreciate all 4 of the applicants for being willing to put themselves out there, that they are willing to go just on their desire to serve the city. I get all of that, but I also understand that we're in trying times right now, and we need an experienced person. And I know that goes against apparently a couple council members' belief that we don't need experience, which I can't even understand that, but we need an experienced person up here. And I believe Lori Smith is the most qualified, and she would do the city well, she would do our council well. And I also don't agree that we should compromise with 2 names. And when Vice Mayor, you say that I believe you said this, that you were willing to compromise. Well, you were willing to compromise only on 3 of the people. If you truly were compromising, then you would have compromised and you would have been okay with someone with experience.
Well,
But you were only willing to compromise on 3. And
not only those 3, I was also willing to open it back up to the public to get more folks involved, since we had a month back then.
But we already opened it for 2 weeks, and we have someone experienced, and
That you feel is experienced. Again, experience and qualifications can be debated. What's on a resume? Someone could throw it in the trash. Resumes aren't important. when you're talking about a city council seat, it's who gets elected. And I think you should know this more than anybody. Somebody that, really treasures the citizen, not a politician. You should understand that. And that aristocratic attitude that we're just going to pick the person who's been in government, and we just want people that are in government because they're experienced, life experience, hard work, being a citizen, having to pay your water bill, having to pay your mortgage, having to raise a family. That's experience. That's the experience I want on the council,
Well,
not some bureaucrat.
Thank you for reminding me what I ran on, which was citizen, not politician. And I can still say that. I have,
You're
From-
sure acting like one.
because I have an opinion. Because I have an opinion, that makes me a politician.
Because you're not willing to work with the council.
Oh, I'm not willing to work with you.
I don't
because-
think you're willing to work with me or the mayor.
Well,
You won't even have a second
I am
choice.
willing to work with you, but I also believe strongly that this council needs someone with an understanding of how government works. I really believe that. And I will stand firm that Ms. Smith is the most qualified to sit in District 1. I believe that, and I'm not going to change my mind.
I know you're not going to change your mind, but I just want to be clear. The other folks who applied don't have an understanding in government because they never worked in government. They didn't held elected office. That's why they don't understand government. I think we're here to make the best decision for our community. And I think that's what the three other applicants knew. They just want to do the best for their community. So do I. But if we just want to be aristocrats and the cream of the crop, and if you're in government and if you get appointed to a planning commission, we'll appoint you to the city council. That's a good old boys club, I think.
Well, I don't know that anyone said a requirement was the planning committee.
It seems like it is with you.
Why is it with me? Because I'm choosing Ms. Smith's experience as working for the city of Modesto? Is that what it is?
I thought you highlighted more of her time on the planning
No,
commission, but you also spoke about her being a director. You're right. And I don't think we need people in government. You've had time in government. So have I. So has Councilmember Silvera in law enforcement. And we have a great city staff that's gotten all of us, all three of us that are new, up to speed very quickly. I think we should have somebody that represents the community.
And I still believe Ms. Smith will represent this committee, this community.
City manager, how do we pay for a special election? Where does that money come out of?
The money would come from the city's general fund.
Could this council relinquish their stipend to pay for some of the cost?
I believe that's a council decision. The stipend, as the council may know, is paid out of three funding sources. A third of that coming from the city's general fund, with a third coming from the water and sewer accounts. So if there was a relinquishment consideration, it would only be the portion of the general fund and not the water and sewer.
And our health benefits are the same way?
You are
divided
correct.
into three?
It's a third of the general fund and the 2/3 water sewer.
And the total council budget, that's about $170,000 roughly. I think it's a little less than that.
You talking about if everyone elected to take health insurance and the stipend?
Yes. Included with cell phones. That's the budget overall, I believe, is around
Yeah,
168.
I was not prepared to answer
Yeah,
that specific question, so I don't have that off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
But the healthcare portion, that's $100,000, correct?
The healthcare option would be provided to all 5 city council members. If all 5 city council members took the family option, it would be a little more than 100,000. Not everyone takes the healthcare options, and there's a 5th member, so it's nowhere near the $100,000 amount.
Or did you want to say something?
It sounds like it's going to be a repeat of the last meeting. I mean, I've said what I've had to say, and everybody has said pretty much the same thing. I know in the end, nobody wants to sit here and go to a special election. I think we can all agree to that. But it doesn't sound like we're going to come to an agreement today.
I'd like to make a motion to reopen applications for District 1.
You know, Mr. Mayor, there is a way we could avoid that special election, and I think you probably know what it is.
I think I know what you're going to say, Silvera.
You can make a reasonable decision right now. and
Honestly,
move on with our city business, like you said.
right. And I appreciate you pointing that out, Mr. Silvera. You know, that the thing is that if I were to do that, then I would be going against what I believe in. So I think it's best that we avoid special election, but the decision will not be made today. So I will table the motion to move this to the next meeting. If I can get a second.
Second.
Wait, what are we doing?
First we had a motion and I didn't hear it seconded, so the motion died.
The motion died. There was no
Okay.
second.
That's correct.
All right, so now we have a new motion.
Yes. The new motion is to table this discussion to the next meeting.
And that was
And
seconded
then
by
there was a second.
Vice Mayor Condit. I will call the roll.
Get a roll call.
Councilmember Rhino,
Yes.
Councilmember Silvera,
No.
Vice Mayor Condit,
Aye.
and Mayor Lopez.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1.
Is there any referrals from the council? No? Is there any reports from the council? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for participating. This meeting is now adjourned.
Mayor Lopez,
Yes, sir.
if we could go through the report section. There's,
Oh, there is some
yeah,
reports. That's why I did
reports.
ask if there was any reports, and I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. I didn't
Oh.
hear anything.
Generally, you start with the council, then come to
Okay.
staff.
That's my fault. Okay. Let's go ahead and go ahead with the reports.
I don't have anything to report this evening, but I
Okay.
do have Representative Condit's, Supervisor Condit's, Russell Fowler on the line, and I also know that Chief Wise is on the Zoom call this evening.
Okay.
And I would probably pass it around to staff within the room, and then we can conclude with Chief Wise and Mr. Fowler.
Okay, let's go ahead and start off with Russ.
I'll go ahead and start, Mayor. Nothing to report from City Attorney's Office.
Go ahead, Tom.
No report tonight, Mayor.
No report. And Russ is not on.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I was next. I apologize. Just
okay.
wanted to say that Supervisor Condit is at a Newman School Board meeting tonight, so that's why he can't be here. Nevertheless, I'm happy to be here. Just give a brief update. Just wanted to highlight something. A couple weeks back, a constituent contacted our office about getting our county public works to come by and clean up an alleyway trash behind Hemlock Avenue. Happy to report that I was able to drive by there last Friday, and that alleyway looks real great. Public Works did a great job. More of a shout out for Public Works than it is for us, but just wanted to thank them for the work that they did and thank the constituent for reaching out to us and making us aware of that issue. That's what we're here for. So I know that another constituent in series reached out to us with a similar issue today. So looking forward to hopefully helping with that as well. If anybody in the community has requests of that nature or any requests that they'd like from the county, feel free to contact us at 209-525-4470 or conditc@stantoncounty.com. With that being said, are there any comments, questions, or concerns for me?
Not at the moment, but thank you, Russ.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Hi, Mayor,
Hello.
Council. Hi, this is Chief Wise. Good evening.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. As you all know, I'll be leaving the city this Thursday, and it definitely is bittersweet. But I want to thank the citizens of Ceres, the City Council, and the firefighters for giving me the opportunity to serve as your fire chief. I've learned a lot over the last couple of years, and I hope I've left the department better than when I found it. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you, Chief Wise, for your service.
And I think that's it, Mayor Lopez.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for participating today. Matt, do you have something to say? Okay. He needs a microphone. Thank you, Matt.
Mayor, tonight I just want to review a few things that are happening at the community center. We're starting to meet with youth sport groups in the next few weeks to talk about coming back this spring with soccer games and baseball games. Again, we'll follow all county protocol, and I'm working closely with our new HR director on making sure we have the proper process in place for contact tracing if there's an issue. Next is we're shooting for classes to start back at the community center in mid-March. Those will be kind of the same kind of classes we saw last fall with probably half the numbers. And for example, for dance, there's 12 usually in a dance class, or probably be 6. They'll happen in these larger rooms that there's proper social distancing. Next is we are in our final phase today. We met with our landscape architects for our 2 park grants. We actually have 3 going in, which is Roding Heights is the one we're resubmitting, but there are 2 for Independence Park and for Don Pedro Park. In the next couple of weeks, we'll have some conceptual drawings, and we'll share those with the community on our website, but also contact the people that were involved in the public outreach process. And last, great news, Big Valley Grace will be returning inside this coming Sunday per the Supreme Court ruling this last Friday. So we're excited to have them back. And something you may see at the next council meeting is we'll have some new furniture. And what's exciting about this furniture is it's all made in the state of California, which is a big, I think, a great thing. And it all has new kind of texture that is antimicrobial. It's a vinyl that makes it safe. So you find this in medical offices and everything. So you'll see some new furniture in the community center, which will be COVID compliant. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt, for that great news. Now we're okay. Once again, thank you everybody for attending today's meeting, not only here at the City Council, our staff, and also everybody on Zoom. Thank you very much and have a great night. This meeting now is adjourned.